Okay, we
And
we are live, brother. We are live.
oh, we are. Oh, here I
Yeah,
am just babbling away. I
that's okay, my
apologize.
friend.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Let me turn
Hello.
on comments. So,
Yeah,
anyway, I like to look at some of the
and
comments. All
and
right.
your
Well,
cigarettes.
no comments. Where's River Rose? Come on. All right. Anyway. So, yeah,
All
how
right,
you been? Good?
I'm hanging in there, dude. It's just a crazy night. I'm going to play my intro here, brother, and then we'll get it going. All right, my friend?
All in.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome into the night with me, Sean Kelly, your host, Tuesday night. Want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi. And a couple announcements, real quick. I have three dear friends that have this disease. It's called CRPS. And what it is that they're in constant pain, a lot of constant pain. And there is no medication for it, there's no healing from it. All they can do is they can just continue to be on pain medicine for the rest of their lives. And it's sucky. It's really, really bad. What else is that's about it. Had a rough 3 or 4 days, man. And I'll tell you what, I'm just glad all this bullshit's over with, to be honest with you. Now, I caught my friend Michael Anthony. He graciously decided to come on and help me out here tonight, you know? So it is going to be an open discussion or whatever freaking comes up. You know what I mean? I'm all good for it. Um, we were just talking for the last minute, and it's crazy. I've not been friends with Michael for about 2 3 years now, huh, Mike?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, and it just seems like every 2 or 3 months I get booted off his friends list, and finally got back on it again. And I don't know what social media is up to. You know what I mean? I just don't understand it because at one time, Mike, I couldn't send you the link through Messenger. I had to send it through emails
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff. And but now today, I guess it's a sign saying that hey, Michael can get it on, come on the show through Messenger. So what you been up to, brother?
Well, like you, addressing all the issues, doing other things that I enjoy, or at least still trying to. Living life, working. I still have things. I always think I'm going to get caught up. I say, oh, I'm beyond the place where I can retire now, but it never seems like I can. There's always something in life that takes us to the next point of the next day that we have to address things and issues. But of course, when we do things like we do, or like how I do, there are some differences. You
Hmm.
know, you prepare, you study, you try to share great content and platforms and things like that out to the public, and you hope for the best with it. You hope that you're heard, and it seems like a lot of things have worked out real well. We just went through Oktoberfest, the eve of Halloween and all that. Was pretty cool. So I was doing a couple shows about Art Bell and remembering him again. I like to do a little tribute every year where I do a couple segments of shows. That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about because you're the
Okay.
professor on Pittsburgh paranormal and all that. And I say that in a good way. So I brought up things that, on a couple shows talking to people where I was invited, excuse me, and so forth. Something was blowing my mind. You know how you go over in your head, you try to resolve and get answers somehow. You hope you can.
Mm.
But when the heart stops and the brain waves cease to exist, and you start to depart from your body, and that's when the dead meet the living, so to speak, kind of thing. And I was trying to put things together here on data, sources on data. I came across some things where doctors were talking a lot about the data and what they were told when people came back. Not that just they could describe what happened in the rooms, but they were also describing, the scenario of the afterlife being so much more fulfilling in ways. One of
Hmm.
the most craziest things that kept coming up was the fact that how the senses blended. That
Huh?
people, yeah, like right now in life we have like five. He's see, air, smell, taste, etc.
Hmm.
Imagine being in a place where all them worked as one together and everything you could not only see smoke, but you could feel it. It
Right.
had a certain sensitivity to it. Being able to go through the ceiling of an operating room onto other floors and just experience what it felt like to have some type of rippling effect that they came back to describe. But so is my thought is here, and those descriptions, getting a little bits and taste of the afterlife being where we return to something that's better than being in this vessel, or the fact that we have been through other hands, somehow uh, being held back in these bodies, and that's why only at times certain people can experience certain types of supernatural powers, we'll call it, even though they're
Right.
not supernatural. But you do have really good mediums, and you do have people that study this, that, and the other, and they have different capabilities. So, which tells me something about where we are now in this existence. We are being suppressed from these, but when we're released from the body, somehow, it's these type of things are actually being described now. And to me, I just thought the data speaks for itself. The realities of the abilities. One case scenario was a young lady that kept leaving her body. She would come back, and what made me think of this to even bring this up was the fact of what you talked about, because I have part of that disease, and I've had it for like almost 25 years now. They told me it was RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, but there's a level above that with the
Hmm.
chronic pain, and that's what you were just describing. This young lady was in a trauma center, went through a horrific accident, and she left her body. She was experiencing everything that I was telling you about, and her thought pattern of her energy was focusing on all these beautiful other elements that were surrounding her. And when it was time to go back to her body, or it could have been whispered to her, as she said, like something was, boom, back in, excruciating pains,
Right.
intolerable. Couldn't open her mouth to tell the doctors that they weren't giving her enough medication, and boom, right back out of her body, and she was at ease again. This happened like 4 or 5 times,
Hmm.
until she came back and her body was feeling better. So of course, they had the revivals, her several times, things like that. And I thought to myself, wow, this is really crazy. When there's actually people documenting this type of data. So what do you think
Yeah.
about?
But before I give you my point, Cindy Mitch, good to see you. She says hello, Michael. Hey,
Hello.
Mr. Wojo. Mr. Wojo is it's a very good brother of mine up there in New England. He hunts Bigfoot, man. Him and Richie Banter, Richie V. Frater Cross has something here that I think that you might find interesting, Mike. He says giving form to force is blasphemy. There he is, the Bigfoot dude. I love it. When we are stuck in bodies, we feel it's a blessing. And when we enjoy senses we feel are amazing. But they are lower and lower forms of being, weakened states of endlessness. The higher the vibration, the more endless you are. and capabilities you have. Break the prison of illusion and become all. And Jack Warren says, governing Mike and folks. Hey, Jack. But back to
Yeah.
you. I could see with the girl, and I'm glad you shared that because I always wondered, because I've had out of body experiences myself, but I never experienced what this girl has gone through. But I would think in her shoes, if she's hurt and in so much pain it's unbearable, and for her to get relief, is it possible that she automatically leaves her body by her own choice just to get that feeling of not being hurt, happy? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think of that?
I think, yeah, you're right on. And again, I don't want to, sound like a broken record. The data speaks for itself in that way. It's not just one case.
Right.
It's more than that. There's great numbers of it. I mean, people die every day. People are in accidents every day. When did all this start to take place is what I'm trying to find out, as far as records being kept, documentations being kept. All I know is it was because great doctors who really loved their work, and wanted to do better for humanity were seeing something that wasn't of the obvious. It was of
Right.
the inobvious. And we can speculate things. So when we remote view, when we leave our body, when we look at things like that, I guess possibilities exist is we don't take all of us with it.
Right.
We are able to separate a different thing. Otherwise, we would just stop our own heart. We would just die. We would
Hmm.
lose everything in our sleep, and or however that would take place. So there's some kind of something that does separate the full entirety of the picture, where it can be separated. So your body continues, but it's almost like you're in a state of comatosis. But meanwhile, you're off having a grand time.
Yeah.
And sometimes this may be the reason why people don't want to come back.
That's a good point that you bring up, brother. Um, I know for me, when I had my out of bodies, it has been all the time when I've been very stressful, you know, where it just like everything is coming at me at one time. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if I have one coming up pretty soon because it's been a rough one. But I don't know. In fact, tonight is the first night time that I ever heard that there is data taken down for people who do out of body experiences. That's intriguing, man. Um,
I
that
think
that
everybody is, there's someone somewhere, everywhere doing something. We
hmm
just don't always run across this type of information. And when I did, I thought, wow, wouldn't this be like the holy grail, the smoking gun, to talk about what I was doing that show? But it turned into where, it turned into a, not a war of indifferences, but in a certain way where one's outlook became professional as to what they were speaking about.
right.
And you try to keep composure and whatnot. I would have liked to challenge some of the things, but also doing a broadcast, you try to be respectful with who you have scheduled in. But their opinion to me came back. Well, well, I know frequency controls a lot of everything, of course, but there's also something really amazing about this that we don't, and it may tie directly into that 100%. I don't ever take it out of the equation, but
Right.
I think some people's contexts are not always open to the same typical discussions. And I knew bringing it to you and getting your input may have put it into a different type of perspective. But yes, I will stop talking here so you can add in and just say, yeah, there are great people out there. Because like you, Sean, I had no clue. And when you get into this, this end of it, I think it's the picture of the next experience.
Wow. So, if, but with you bringing up about the out of bodies and writing the data down, I guess there's a ton of data for all the abductees that were taken with extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
And so, why would, and this is my question to myself and everybody out there, why would somebody want to actually collect this data? What can they do with this data? Just write a book? Could they? That's what blows me away. But like you said, um, people just do things to do it, you know. So I don't know. I find it very, very interesting. Very interesting, brother.
Well, there's a also, like, when you look at scenarios of different types of cases, one of the most ghostly stories you'll ever hear in your life is the Deborah Moffat story. That was mind blowing. That was something that I shared, and I got to tell you, the response was pretty good. Not a lot of people know about this story. It comes from a place called Ranch Cucamonga, who people think it's just a made up thing like Titicaca, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's a fact. They're both factual scenarios. Are you aware of this case? I can brief you a little.
No, I have not, buddy.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna have
let
to.
me put some cheers into your bones, old man. Okay.
Please do, brother. Please
So
do.
listen, this young lady meets a guy. Of course, you know how that works out, and she marries into a family. And this family, there was several properties, and in-laws, et cetera, et cetera. And after a few years of being there, she started to experience a lot of really craziness with her husband and her mother-in-law and so forth. And living there, dealing with things, trying to understand them as the story goes on for 6 years. And what they were trying to find out, and you had some of the best in the world showed up. This is all really documented well. The Warrens were there. There were doctors of science there. I mean, anybody you could imagine. And even when Art Bell would say, I can validate their credibility, I think he was trying to say that the best of the best were there. There were things that happened in this home, like poster beds. Now, you know what a poster bed is. It has those real high stick things. They go up to the ceiling. She would come in her bedroom and find her bed turned, flipped upside down. With no way to do it unless you take the bed apart.
Wow.
There was rats hanging in the pantry that when she opened the pantry up, they were like hanging, swinging, just looking at her. Usually when you go near a mouse, it takes off, it scampers. The rats wouldn't do it. Birds slamming into the windows. Just crazy, unusual things were happening. So they were trying to put the thing together. And there's something called Santeria. Do you know what Santeria is?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is, sir.
It's kind of like a voodoo in a way of a belief. Okay. Well, there was a caretaker there that was really worried if something happened to the grandmother, not her in-law, but the grandmother to her in-law, who was still alive but sick. If she lost her job, she wouldn't be able to stay in the United States. So she started breaking rosary beads using bloods from something. It was never really tested to know what the bloods were. Feathers, etc., marking symbols above doorways. And they thought that something, perhaps this woman unintentionally opened some type of doorway. That wasn't the case as the story goes on. Many things happened, included all top floor windows got blown out. Not only did the kitchen cabinets get removed from the walls came with it in some cases. They were just torn to shreds in a moment's, just boom, done. Just like that. All documentation, scenario stuff. People surrounding the families, all dying of the same problem. The scenarios just kept growing and growing. So they finally get to the point with this. I'm going to move. And I'm going through this fast. I am leaving out so much of fascinating material. I would suggest anybody look up Art Bell, Deborah Moffat, YouTube, check it out. It's mind-blowing when you listen to this. Now, this young lady put out 2 books. The first book she put out was about getting the story out there, but in a way where it would give a balance to people to allow them to think, because of the horrific things that actually were documented and happened, was to kind of like, just like say, all right, so this, she didn't say it was fact or fiction, but it was more towards fiction. Her second book, she put in pictures of everything, the disturbing happenings, the conditions of the house. And when this thing didn't want them to go out, it would go out and damage the car so they couldn't leave. They would never see it happen, but when they would go out to leave, it would happen. They would go to a store to buy things. The lady would reach in her purse, her money and credit cards would be shredded.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, it went into really poltergeistic type demonic demon. So some people told her and asked her, are you taking pictures? You keep records? She's like, yeah. Well, they said, you do that, you're going to have problems because you're holding on to this. So no matter what she did, whether she kept them or got rid of them, the problems just continued and escalated. And it let them know, it let them know it was angry. But the story goes with a twist. Going through all this repetitively for 6 years straight, moving to a new house, it follows them, still doing all the same things on much worse things. They start finding knives in the house that don't belong in the house, that don't belong to them. They just appear. They're there, including some ancient things. Like where, ancient knives and stuff that could be traced just by, because they took some of these things to people and they were like, wow, this thing's 250 years old. Where'd you get it? We found it in our house. Wow, that's a nice find in your house. That kind of thing. As the story goes, this woman is trying everything desperately to stay strong out of fear. And I mean, walk out of rooms, come back in, everything reversed on the walls, all the bobbleheads, all the collectibles, all turned in a blink. Meaning, like if she took one step out and said, oh, I forgot something, turned around, the whole room was changed. And in that instance of fact of time, where time and space time, like it means nothing. And going further, and I don't want to do a lot here because I actually want you to listen to this, but I'm giving you a good gist of it. Trying to figure out what was going on. She's in a bathroom one day, and I believe, I don't want to be mistaken here. If I am, my apologies in advance. She said something out loud in the bathroom. Something happened in the bathroom. And she kind of said a question and left the room. She came back into the room, and on the mirror with soap in English for her to understand was writing to the answer that she asked.
Oh, wow.
So she figured out a way, because nobody could figure out a way to talk to it. I mean, she had shaman come in. They did everything. They went through every room. They told her it was a power beyond any of their experiences of what they could, but they tried to help her and stay engaged with her. So with all this happening, she decides, okay, I have a way to, make contact with this entity. This entity told her he wanted to be called the prince. She would not give him that power. She said, I will call you Mr. Entity. And he didn't object to that. She says, if I talk to you and give you parts of the house and let you have your own space, will you let us alone and leave the children and don't bother them? And it wrote back, and it agreed, but it wouldn't write back in front of her. She would have to leave the room and then come back in to retrieve the message from the mirror. Now, mirror, mirror on the wall had to be erased once and for all. Otherwise, no new messages would come through, because it wrote morning, noon, and night.
Oh, wow.
It just kept writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, but it was giving her answers. Finally, she's getting somewhere. It seems that there was an association with this demonic presence with satanic monks who practiced satanic blood, etc., etc. Had made an agreement 350 years before her mother-in-law was even born, and she was promised to him, and he supplied her with the knife that they never used, and he came for her because she was promised to him, and that's why he was there. So I'm going to end it with that and just let you Look up
Gonna
before you go to sleep tonight. Go on YouTube, everybody, and just get the whole Jack story. It's great. Skip through the message commercial. You know, I mean, Art Bell was fascinating. He went to music, all that kind of stuff. Not like we do radio here on UPRN, stuff like that. It was a little bit there, but it was radio.
Mhm.
But you can get through it probably in about 40 minutes. And it's a remarkable story. I didn't want to put in every detail. I think that would kill the whole gist of it. And you might want to talk about some alien abductions or something. And there's a fascinating story called on that, the Manhattan alien abduction, where 23 people from the ground in cars, including political people with guardsmen, political that high up people,
Mhm.
witnessed her body come out through a window and wall and rise through a beam of light into a spaceship. Now, Bud
Oh.
Hopkins is part of the story because she went to Bud Hopkins. Bud Hopkins is was one of the more foremost people to go to with this type of thing, and we're doing regressions and different scenarios like that. So that is another one that's pretty remarkable. Here's the nice thing about it: you don't have to go look it up, but you can. It's on Netflix right now. It's a 3-part true story documentary with Bud's wife, himself, and this lady. And she tells her story through regression and through conversations because she had a lot of things happen. But I do know that Netflix had tried to compromise the story after it was pretty much given for all this to happen for the documentary and the filming of it. It
Mhm.
seems that, the powers to be of all these places that say you can only say so much try to remove some of the content. So there are some legal battles going on. But the one nice part of it, Bud Hopkins kept a lot of the information. A lot of it was videoed, filmed, the regressions, his wife being who she was, what she did as a reporter journalist who was tracking the story and was mind blown about it, but always was questionable about it. Like, how can this be? But the fact that held the story together with concrete and mortar was the fact that 23 people contacted Bud Hopkins and said, I witnessed it. And they went out, Bud had a team. They went out and they talked to these people. These people claim what this lady claimed the same way. Now, you do have a little bit of indifferences, but
Right.
they were there. And I thought that was another remarkable story. It was something else that I talked about, but I talked about a lot of things because, a form of what we do is try to be a part of a entertainment service to people, not just from a political standpoint, because sometimes it's all for political.
That's for I usually say that's for another day. That's for
Yeah,
another show on the political stuff.
right. Well,
But
my point was, and I don't even know where I was going with it right now, but was
it's
only
all
to
right.
say, not for entertainment, but for entertainment purposes. But delivering proper content the best we can, also
Mhm.
having facts to back it up, stories to back it up, real people in real time testimonies, etc., etc. So, what do you think of that story? I mean, to go through a wall, and this was an abduction that kept occurring.
That um that fascinating. That's the one word I can give you is fascinating and unreal. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to look that one up too. I'm so glad you came on the show tonight, dude. You're boosting my energy, man. You're making me smile a little bit more. I appreciate that.
Yes. People have told me I should be a motivation speaker, and
You
it's like,
should. Good. I'm
and then
telling
I
you,
got,
all that money you'd be making, shit. I mean, there's times that
I
I've
don't know
listened to you.
about
No,
that.
no, listen, I'm being honest with you. There are times that I would listen to you and be on a show with you, and I'm ready to go down a path where there's a machine gun nest pointing at me, and I'm like, Sean, you got to go down there and get it. And I'm like, I'm right behind you, Mike. I'm going to go right down because you do, and I'm being honest with you. But I'll tell you what, Sunday I did a show on, um, well, my first half was how I felt about the election and stuff, but I brought up the Amityville Horror House.
Hmm.
Okay. Um,
I'm not going
and
anywhere. I'm not going anywhere.
I know you're okay. All right. You still there, brother?
Oh yeah, you know what I'm
Okay.
doing.
Yep. It's a good thing you get the black. Hey, there your buddy River Rose is on now.
But she's
So
late.
good evening, Sean and Michael and everyone. See, sending you love, Sean. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it.
Oh, don't send me
Jack,
none.
good. Jack, Warren, it's good seeing you too.
Oh,
We
my
scroll up there
warrior
a little
friend.
bit.
Yeah, Jack. He's fantastic people.
Yes, he is. Squadsman, good to see you, sir.
And yeah, he
Cindy,
jumped into my group last night, was listening to something or the other night. Yeah, it's been a while.
yes. Freighter Crow, good to thank you for sharing that. I'm just like, just getting through all the things here. But, to be honest with you, I did a show on a little part. It's called, on Sundays, I've been doing some true hauntings from around the world. And I came upon the Amityville Horror. And I don't know if you know anything about the story a little bit,
Me?
but okay.
Oh my God, more than you may realize. Yes. One of the most fascinating movies and stories. But with anyway, I'm gonna let you go with that because there was so much yes and no's about it. So please share.
All right. Well, since you know about it, and since my people who are in here tonight know about, what I talked about, my question to you, sir, there's a big debate going on. That a lot of people think it's a hoax, and another half of the people think it's a total legit demonic situation. I'd like to get your 2 cents on the deal.
Yeah, I'm with you, and that's what I was saying prior to you making your final comment. That it's a big yes and no thing. I would like to be able to get my hands on the actual documentation from the Warrens. And I'm not saying that I look upon them as authorities of, but I do in many ways also.
Right.
I think they were credible people really traveling around the world trying to help people. You don't do that if there's not something credible behind your actions in going to help people. So to me, that's a positive. That's one for the team, yes. Two for the new people coming in, the new homeowners that said they'd never experienced anything in the home. Well, the one thing I will say to you is demonic entities have time and patience. And when they want
Yes.
to be seen again, heard again, or let you know that they're there again, they will do that.
Of course they will. Absolutely. But the Defoe family who got shot by the eldest son,
Right.
and the eldest son is saying, "Hey, listen, this demon was telling me to do this stuff," and I'm like, in some way, I kind of believed him. You know what I mean? Um, I when I watched the movie, it was a little out there, okay,
Hmm.
and that was made for movies. But when I continued reading the book and all the things that had happened, I can see it actually being something demonic. And Eugenio Vasquez says, "Thank you for this show tonight. Thank you for being here, Eugenio." Um, Bill Rigby, hey, Bill Rigby's on the show now, or he's in the room. Hi, Sean. Hi, Michael. Hi, Bill. But for me, you
Really?
know, yeah, Mr. Vogel too. Good evening, sir. Good to see you, sir. That's Tim Vogel. That's another one of my brothers up there in New England that go Bigfoot hunting.
There
You
you
know what I
go.
mean?
There's many of them out there
Oh,
doing a great job. Many of them are doing a
yes,
great job.
yes, there are. That they are, and I know that I am going to go to Massachusetts next year, and I'm going to go out. And they're going to take me Bigfoot hunting, dude. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But yeah, so I kind of believe that stuff could actually happen. I have
I do
never
too.
witnessed. I have not seen anything like black goo coming out of the locks, out of the lock holes. You know what I mean? But the other stuff that the people were experiencing, um, I forget the name of the family that came in after the Defoes, but all I know is that I kind of like lean toward it was demonic, dude.
I
That's how
would
I'm
too.
leaning.
I
Yeah,
would too. Satanic, demonic. But here's the thing that I would like to be able to, I think it would help us weigh on factors more. The condition of this young man's state of mind, schizophrenia, things like that, and delusional acts of violence. Where does it come from within one's mind? And maybe it comes from guidance that we don't understand, possession and those typical types of things. We know about them, of course we do, but I think there's, and I don't know if there is any information that goes into that. And I would just think that would help guide me a little better. I don't know if you're aware of this young man's mental state before that violent act that night, but
right.
it just, again, places me to like, I need some more facts on it. But again, the one thing I worry about is the fact when I hear stories like the Deborah Moffat story, also being out there suffering through something for 6 years, even though there was no violent things towards humanity, a human being, there was people all surrounded with deaths of certain causes, but all the same cause. Tenants suddenly putting trees and planting trees upside down in the backyard, as if maybe they were doing or making an offering of appeasement to this demonic presence. It's really crazy when we look at the possibilities, because we're only being shown something from a TV screen. And I learned not to to trust the screen.
Right.
I try to trust the content of the story, and my hands are not on any of it except for the people that were able to get in there and just reported it was just a regular home where a horrific act occurred. So I don't know how to look at it. I don't know how to really respond to it without having some of those other particles. But again, knowing that the Warrens went there and were part of the scenario, I'm saying there's fact there, and beware, these things can come and go at will. And all we can do, knowing that, is hope that the new family that owns the property are, going to be kept safe somehow, from a bigger source, looking over them, pushing back on the dark.
I totally 100% agree with you on that because I investigated a lot of houses that were demonic, dude, and I'm telling you, it's nothing that you want to live through. I mean, what the people have experienced, the ones that I have investigated, who I have helped out, honest to God, some of them were just so I can't find the word for it, but totally out of it, totally out of it. It was just like they were like walking zombies in their own house. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but but when you were talking about the Deborah Moffat story, when the girl was saying she kind of like made a deal with that, if you want to call it a demon or whatever. Um, when she made the deal, says you can have any part of the house, just don't interrupt the children and stuff like that. How'd that work out for that?
For a while, it worked out better. There was
Okay.
there was moments of times and silences on its part, but again, it went as far as when it wanted to be in control of their lives. I'm going to turn my camera back on, but before I do, Sean, look at that picture that I have in the black square. There should be a picture there.
Yes. It looks like a
Okay,
UFO,
that is
dude.
that is a cylindrical object above my property.
No way.
Yeah, I swear
Wow.
to God, I've been getting some fascinating pictures, even with everything we are experiencing of the new sky art component. But there have been times this summer where I've got some really fascinating shots for the documentary. So again, it's a slow process when they're cloaking the sky, treating for the disturbance of the heat and sun, and it's hard to do it when it's 24/7. but I have had some great moments, including some just cut off the wall where I woke up and I had the urge to go outside to sit there in the dark on the porch and look up, and it's like, boom, it's there. And I go out, I have a cigarette, always on kind of like standby mode. And this came from exactly that. I know people probably say, "Oh, I've seen that before." If you did, it's probably because I shared it and other people were sharing it too, which is fine.
Right.
But nevertheless, I just wanted to tell you what that object was in that photo. And, you came into my mind the other night too. And then I get this friend request. I'm like, holy shit. And I'm looking at those. Do you remember the giant red orbs with the morbid faces in them?
Yes,
we
yes,
cut
yes,
here?
sir. Yes.
So, and then you show up as a friend. I'm like, oh, there's got to be more to the picture on this planet. If the
Gotta
things
be,
just
dude.
work like this. But anyway, let me say hi to Bill. I didn't really say it to you. Hey, it's out there, man, Mont and Bill. I mean, what's with the beard, dude? Trim it up. You too. Goddamn,
Oh,
trying to be. How many Santa Clauses do we need?
no, not too many. Not
Yeah, I
too
like
many.
mine tight. I go for the 5 o'clock shadow.
I can't. I gotta let it go. Every now and then, I'll treat myself, shave the sides, have them trim it up here and there.
Yeah.
But one of these days, Mike, I'm gonna completely shave this off.
Yeah.
And it'd be like,
yeah, I might get a haircut. I might get a total haircut and shave mine all off too. Just I could be in trouble. You never know. I mean, this all might be a good pattern to like where I can go out and do things of a different disguise, in ways. So what else you want to talk about? Because I got to tell you, it's been the fastest 41 minutes I ever had.
Yeah. Right now, since there's another show coming on at 9:10, I usually stop the show around 9 o'clock. So we got about 9 minutes left, but I just wanted to share with you. Oh my God, Max is in the house. Holy God, we're getting them all in tonight, buddy. Hey, Michelle.
I don't really know these people, but I want to say hi to them. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Heidi.
Hey, Heidi. Good to see you. Thank you for making it on. Max, good to see you, pal. Maximum Puric.
Max. Oh, I had him on recently too. Oh man. Max, what great content. That was a great show. I mean, the viewership was nuts.
He has a lot of good.
When you go all over everywhere I do them, I hope he's selling books. That's why I do it.
That's what I do too, brother. I hope he's selling. But I wanted to share with you. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I was going to, this was about maybe 3-4 months ago. I was going to work and it was like 4:30 in the morning. And Scott Road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over there. So I'm going down Scott Road at 4:30 in the morning. And I happened to look up between two houses. Dude, I saw this huge UFO so close to this house. Dude, it was like the Starship Enterprise. No shit. That's how it looked. And it was like this. And I figured, okay, I can get up to the next road, to the next street and stop, and because it'd be a better picture. I get up to that next street, my friend, and it's gone. Just like that. It just went gone. And I was like, now I've been sober for a long time. I don't do drugs. And I had 2 cups of coffee before I started driving, and I saw it, and I was like, hot damn. Now all I need to do is get an alien to come down and shake my hand, and I'll say, like, take me to your leader. But I did discuss on Sunday, and I'd like to get your feelings on it. The day after the election when Donald Trump won, for me, it just felt like 1,000 pounds of pressure just released from my shoulders. How did you feel?
I felt like there was a part of the war that was complete, that we won. I tried to stay focused for positivity and light for people by exposing things that I could, and they still continue. Last night I posted or the day before, about Mattel Toys now putting porn sites on the back of their packaging. So while you're out for shopping for Christmas, remember to look at everything. It's just not bio this, bio that in our foods and all these other things. But yeah, I will agree with you. I'll get off that. Just pay close attention to everything and see what's really happening as the new force is being built to take us into a new America 2025, where we're going to have the biggest anniversary party you could ever imagine. It's probably going to last a year long. It's going to be the biggest thing to ever happen in this world. And that's part of what I think bringing America back to its beginning should be like. But yeah, I'm with you. There was definitely a weight and relief. But I also had a few personal conversations with I call him the alien. And there were things that if you looked into the content of what really happened, how Harris wouldn't come out to address her own crowd, and when she did come out, made a speech with 11 times mentioning the word fight, fight, fight. That tells me there's still evil there, but there was something more, and a tactic of play, I think, that happened, because then they were inviting the Dawn to the White House, and there would be no problem with the transition of power. I mean, they became weak at their knees when you have and now we know that we have a young lady that violated so many of the election integrity laws. She's short $20 million on campaigns where her own people are not going to be paid now. Venues aren't going to be paid. Bus companies who bus these people into her events won't be paid. Money was paid to Oprah. Money was paid to Beyonce. Money was paid to victimize Donald Trump. And it was a relief. It was a relief to watch it go away and watch him be destroyed. And that's probably the best way I can say it. So, a lot of people send me thanks. Sometimes the words are even better, and I don't deserve anything more than you did, because you've been my resource, my light, my direction. And I speak the way I do because I see what you want. I speak the way I do because I heard what you wanted. I speak the way I do because I don't know what else to do with myself. If I didn't do it, I'd just implode. So there's a different thing, but it's not over. Here's the deal. Don't jump off ship yet, anybody. Because the last thing you want to do, truthfully, is jump off a ship 100 miles out to shore and think you're going to make it to shore when it's shark-infested waters and it's one hell of a long swim. Stay aboard. Keep doing what you're doing. That will keep them in the know of the knowledge that we find that they may not have come across yet and that we know needs fixed. We will be a citizens review board. And as Donald Trump said, we are doing this together, not apart. So as long as we do that until January 20th, I think we keep him safe.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And I'm ready to go down that path with that machine gun nest there, brother, after that little 2-minute thing held there. But what's your plans for Thanksgiving?
Well, I've been doing this a long time, eating the shit, meaning like I make nothing for what I do in any way, shape, or form. Takes away from my life. So, get tired of going into your resources and always funding every month, everything you do, your life, whatnot, buildings that you don't want to rent no more, but they still cost for insurances and all the different aspects of stuff. So I've been, watching for deals and so forth. And fortunately, one of your competitors offered turkeys for 69 cents a pound, but they were turkey breasts. And I said to Twiggers, I said, hey, why don't we go get a couple of these things? And, so we're all prepared. It's going to be turkey, probably stuffing, mashed potatoes, some homegrown corn. I don't know, but the kids might want to do something. It's hard to say. But I do know we don't have to keep 6 feet apart no more. And I do know being with family is the best cure, truthfully. And every one of us should be doing that and celebrating it. And Merry Christmas to everybody as well.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Don't worry, I'll have you on before Christmas, brother. Heidi said that her video froze. That's crazy. Heidi says hello, Michael.
Hello.
Mike, great show from the other night with Ernie D. Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. That was a good show y'all had.
Yeah, we got a bunch more planned with different. Well, I shouldn't say we. I and we of others If all we do is trying to create a format of great content somehow, I don't want to trample on nobody's toes. There's 1,000 other people out there doing podcasts. Please understand it's nothing personal. I pick a time, I go on, and most of the time it fits my guest time, not mine. My timeline
Yeah,
is allowing the guests to suggest to me what works better and best for them. But yeah, I mean, even when I did with Carter on Unreal and Russell, there's a vibration somehow and a connection. I don't know how it works. That's actually probably one of the strongest formats in the communities when it
hmm
comes to support.
right.
Although it needs repairs, ufology needs repaired. Different things need repaired, but I think we're coming apart in good ways and across in good ways to people. And you know what, too, when you look at the left to the right and all that, everything has dumbed down the American people. Some people just
hmm
wanted to like vacate everything, but I think we're
Right.
going to see. I think you're going to see a recharge happen, and
I do
everything's
too.
going to grow for everybody. Everything's just going
Yes.
to grow for everybody.
Awesome. Hey, Michael, I got to run. We got to run now. It's time. But I want to thank you so much for coming on and helping me out tonight.
It
I'm
was
glad
fun to
we
be
were.
with you for a change.
Yes, I'm glad we're friends again. The hell with Facebook. You know what I mean? The hell with them.
They
But
don't like
listen,
me.
they don't like children. Please, if you can, go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have nobody, if you have no children, if you have no parents, find somebody, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Those three words, I love you, go a long way. Again, thank you, Michael. I will see everybody on Sunday. Have a safe week and happy hunting.